Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to be doing a tier list for ADC pairings with Swain down in the bot lane. So this is going to be a little bit off of personal experience, and it's a little bit subjective because I am extremely outspoken with these ADCs with more than probably 2,000 games played of Swain support. I really have strong opinions of the best ADCs, particularly in this current meta, and the best pairings with Swain. So let's start out with the first one. So Aphelios is a really strong champion in the current meta, but isn't the absolute best pairing with Swain because usually he likes something that can heavily protect it and give it a reposition, things like Thresh or a shielding support that can really just amp up his damage. However, Swain can be a great distraction, and you have the innate synergy with his purple gun where you can use your passive if he roots the target. So we're going to be putting him in the B tier. Now, one of my favorite lanes is definitely going to be Ashe, and we're going to be putting her in the A tier. She isn't the strongest in the meta, but she is a very good champion. She makes it extremely easy to land your E's with her slows. She makes it, you're able to passive proc off of her ultimate, and her just ability to hawk shot can be extremely helpful in landing more W's. So Caitlyn is a very hit or miss pick, in my opinion, with Swain. Caitlyn is insanely good with Swain when the Caitlyn is good, but if the Caitlyn is mediocre, it isn't going to be the best lane. You can often find yourself over pushing and then getting ganked, but if they're able to hook on your roots, or not hook on your roots, if they're able to trap on your roots, it can be a absolutely devastating combo. So we are going to be putting another A tier. Now, my absolute favorite ADC to play with Swain, just an insane lane. They are always aggressive players, and that is Draven. He is going to be being put in the S tier because Draven is just without a doubt my absolute favorite lane to play with Swain, because I know that they're going to match my playstyle in a heavy aggressive bot lane. Now, if you've been around my channel almost any amount of time, you know my absolute disdain for Ezreal players. I think that they should just be absolutely wiped off the map. I think this champion is absolutely terrible. I don't think that any ADCs, particularly in lower elos, have any business playing this champion. So we're going to be putting him in the D tier list, and D is for dodge. If you get an Ezreal player on your team, you should be checking out the OPGG, in my opinion, at the start of every lobby. And if they're an Ezreal main, just ban Ezreal before they can hover it. It's an absolutely garbage champion. Even if you get it ahead in lane just because of decent play, they are not going to be able to carry the game. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a controversial placement here, because Jhin actually goes really well with Swain because you're able to passive root off of his W. However, I think that I so commonly get Jhin ahead in lane. We're always able to win lane, but for some reason they just fall off in the late game. Even if you get them like 10 kills in lane, I don't know how many times this happened. I've get them 10 kills in lane, and then they just are unable to carry the game, and we lose. So that is why we are going to be placing him in the B lane. He is a really strong currently ADC. He has ult synergized as well with your W, and you can zone really well together. You have a lot of lane, you have a lot of pick potential, you have a lot of lane prio. It is a strong matchup, but however, just with current ADCs, at least in the MMRs that I'm playing in, they are unable to carry. Now, I actually really like the Jinx lane. I think it is really strong. It's kind of in the middle of the B and the A tier, in my opinion. However, we're going to put it in the B tier just because you don't have the overall power that a shield and support, or something that can protect the Jinx a little bit better with Swain. She relies a little bit more on some other things, but you're able to passive proc off of her chompers. She has a lot of all-in threat, and you can burst out a champion pretty easily with Swain, so you can get her a reset quickly. So we're going to be putting Kai'Sa in C. I've been encountering just absolutely terrible Kai'Sas pretty much very consistently ever since that poke build came out. I just do not think it is the best pairing unless the lethal tempo build starts making a resurgence and people start playing more AD. Kai'Sa, because of her all-in threat, is very heavy, and she can follow up. But currently in this meta with the poke, it is just not really the best lane. Now, my personal favorite outside of the Draven lane is Kalista. I think this is an absolutely S tier lane with a lot of all-in threat where she can chase people down after you land an E and use your W zoning. You're able to get thrown in with the ult and then passive proc off the ult into a pretty much guaranteed E unless they have some sort of cleanse or some kind of shenanigans happen around. So absolutely amazing. Very, very rare to find a Kalista player, but lock in Swain automatically if you see a Kalista, because that lane is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, next champion we have is Lucian. He's going to be put into the B tier. He is very aggressive, and it's nice to have an aggressive ADC, unlike these little Ezreal players down here that are never aggressive and just want to max range Q and blame you for anything that goes wrong in the lane. Lucian is a decent lane, but it absolutely is not the best. So the next champion we got is Misfortune. There's not really too much innate synergy in my opinion. You're able to land E's pretty well off of her E, which is nice, and you're able to set up her ultimates if you're able to get a couple champions rooted, which can be nice. But however, their all-in pressure is not as strong as a lot of other ADCs. Her damage falls off quite heavily, quite quickly after her double tap proc is used, and she does not have too many items early, so it is a rather weak lane. Now, Samira is an absolutely great lane. If you're anything like me and you love being an aggressive Swain, which you should be doing because it's where a lot of your pressure lies in their early game, Samira can passive proc off of your E. She loves jumping in when you land a combo and get a lot of damage done. She has a lot of follow-up, which is really nice. You're both drain takes, you're both dive buddies. It is a great lane when they know how to play the Samira. You guys can absolutely get some disgusting things done. Now, next up we have Sivir. I personally don't like this lane at all. Maybe it's just because of the Sivers that I've been encountering, but I just don't really find too much innate synergy outside of her ultimate, speeding up your ultimate and getting you in good positioning. It is okay, but overall, I hate this lane. I hate when people lock it in, particularly when it's the lethality variant, because you have to play this pretty much just this poke lane, which is not fun for Swain, where you just throw your E, maybe do a quick combo, and then she throws her Q, and then you guys back off because you will lose the all-in fight to quite a few of the meta ADCs at the moment. Tristana, in my opinion, is going to be an A because I love aggressive ADCs. They pair so well with Swain, as well as her being pretty self-sufficient with a W jump reset, so she's able to, she doesn't rely too heavily on her support to protect her, which is very, very nice. Now, Twitch is a really strong ADC. I would put him between A and B. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards B right now, just because he usually likes to have a little bit more protection, but what you're able to do is zone the enemy champions to make it so they have to either get slowed by the W, or just get auto-attacked a bunch more by the Twitch. So right when he pops out of his stealth, you put a W behind the enemy and you force them to either turn and all in, or just get slowed, get hit by your W, and then just take a bunch of stacks. And then the ramping damage of how the expunge from the Twitch comes out is very, very nice. Now, a lane that I really like, but I don't see too common, is on-hit Varus. I think is very, very effective because he is a great all-in champion. However, you can get punished quite heavily, so he's kind of between A and B, but I'll put him air on the side of the A because of how much synergy you have. You're able to land your E more when he throws out his E. You're able to passive proc off of his ultimate, and he can get a lot of damage off quickly and help you just really burst out a target. So Vayne is actually a pretty decent lane in my opinion. You can cause a lot of distraction for him. You're able to passive proc off of his condemn, which is nice. And overall, Vayne is just a really strong champion right now. I don't think it has too much to do with the Swain pairing, but this is a decent lane that can do really well. A great attribute that Swain support has down in the bot lane is his ability to really help out some of those champions that need to scale a bit by just causing a lot of threat and giving you a lot of prio just by the nature of your kit and how much damage you have in those all-in scenarios. And we have Zaya. I really like this matchup. This lane, she has been nerfed quite a bit. I think she has a decent lane with Swain. If she was a little bit stronger, I'd definitely put her in the A tier, but we are going to be putting her in the B tier. You are able to passive proc off of her root that she gets with her feathers, as well as a pretty decent ability to self-peel, which is always nice when you're pairing it with Swain. As you can see here, a lot of these ADCs are pretty self-reliant, and a lot of these ADCs are pretty reliant on having supports. It's kind of the general gist of what you're looking for. You're looking for aggressive ADCs that can do really well in lane and don't necessarily need you on top of them, protecting them at all times. Now, I am going to be representing the final pick because there just wasn't a Zeri image. So I think the Zeri lane is okay, but we're going to be putting it in the B tier. There isn't really too much synergy. She doesn't doesn't have any CC she provides. She is an aggressive ADC, which is why she isn't in the C tier, and which is very, very nice. You're able to create a little bit of a zone for her, just with your ultimate, and really punishing champions that are looking to just engage heavily on the Zeri. But just having no synergy, we have to not put her in the A or the S tier. Zeri is going to be into the B tier. If you guys have any questions, if you want to tell me your personal preferences, if I got something completely wrong, if you absolutely hate playing with Kalista, Draven, or Samara and you put them in D tier, let me know. If you love playing with Ezreal or Sivir, I hope not. Let me know in the comments down below. That'll wrap up my video, guys. I'm also always open to suggestions. I always watch what you guys are commenting. I have a bunch of ideas from you guys and the subject matter that you want me to cover, so make sure to let me know about those. I'm also extremely interactive on Discord. If you guys have any questions for me, I message anyone back that has any Swain questions on Discord, so I'm going to put a link to that in the pinned comments. And as always, guys, take it easy.